All right, I already hear stuff on her side. What is all that noise?
Really, dude?
I don't know. It's my dog. Jason was supposed to take away all his squeaky toys. I got everything else right this time, though.
Oh, it's good stuff. Hey, welcome back. What's up? It's Thursday. Yeah, you clicked this on the right night. I don't know when you're watching this. For us, it's Thursday. It's live. My name is Jay Ryan. We're in the late night Playset. We got a good cars and comedy for you this evening. I'm wearing my I love my DeLorean shirt for a reason, because I do love my DeLorean. She looks like that over there. Oh, she's got a whole set and everything. This is incredible. Okay, no producer Mike tonight, but we do have the Instagram audience, and we're going to be talking to KATHRYN DeLorean to get an update on the DeLorean Legacy. We're going to get a little update on this set she built over there, which is pretty awesome. We really get under people's skin. They're like, anytime somebody hangs out with us on the show, they're like, well, I need to make a little set and a little studio. I need lights. I need cameras. Oh, I've turned into the guy who helps people with that. This was totally unintentional, but it seems that if you need a studio built, I'm your guy. So anyway, that's it. Also, but most importantly, the main thing that we're doing tonight is talking to the Instagram audience, because we're building out, and the YouTube audience for that matter, talking to the audience. I'll be fine in a second here. Oh. We're going to be talking to the audience because we are building out the next couple months of this show. I have some fantastic guests that I've already booked, and I'll tell you about in a little bit. And then also we've made some changes in the studio here. That whatever, it doesn't matter tonight, but in the future we'll be having other things. So we want to know what you want to see. That's what's good. I think that Dilly in school, Alpina 02, G Grind. Oh, what's up? Get behind the wheel. He may or may not show up tonight. I don't think so, because he said he had a customer come in late, but he's going to pop in at some point, whether it's tonight or another night. And that's what's going on. Take it away, Will. Wow. With the new AC, because I changed a bunch of stuff, as you can tell. There's air flowing now. Wow, do you see it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's way better.
Robust.
Oh, we are going to have, this is going to be great. All right. We're changing stuff. Anyway, welcome back. Hey, everybody. Hello. It is Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Jay Ryan, Nicole Ryan. Late Night Playset, Cars and Comedy in the Late Night Playset. I don't care what you want to call it. We don't think any of those names are good. We're still looking for the right one. If you've got one, send it in. In the meantime, it's Cars and Comedy in the Late Night Playset. Pretty firmly at the moment. We are back. It's Tradecraft Thursday. If you want that, please help yourself.
Thanks.
Load yourself up there with the Sticky Vape. Thanks to our friends at stickyvape.com and Tradecraft Farms. There you see them back there. They're building right across the street in the Arts District downtown there. It's a little more intimate. It's we're just with you. There is no producer Mike in Canada, which I don't. That's neither good nor bad. He's just doing his last the baseball game thing he does. I guess their season's over, but tonight's the last game. He goes in. He either calls the games or helps call the games, or I know he's the DJ for the games as well because he was playing a lot of rain music last night. I was going to
ask you, but he did.
Go ahead.
What does he do? I was going to ask you. Now I can't talk.
I know. I threw you under the bus there.
Thanks.
I could tell you couldn't talk. I still did it. What a jerk. I'm sorry. Everything I just said. He's at least the DJ, and I think he might call the games as well. But I don't want to talk about him too much tonight, except that he had. All right, I guess I do. He, our Canada Mike is also the producer. No, he's the host of the producer and host of the Letterman podcast, and he had a great guest today. That there's a little video of him talking to this person. Do you see that bubble still floating around in here? Do you see how cool? Mm-hmm. This is going to be ridiculous. Guys, there's a bubble coming up at us from earlier. Yeah. It's going to come into frame right about now. There it is. Look at that. That's freaking cool as hell. I don't know why. I feel like that movie with River Phoenix with the aliens. The little bubble was going around from the 80s. Anybody? Explorers.
I've heard of it.
Anyway. He had a great guest, producer Mike, on the Letterman podcast today, and a Letterman-related guest, obviously, Steve O'Donnell, somebody we wanted to have here for a long time, and apparently that's going to happen thanks to producer Mike. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah, I know. Apparently there's a video involved as well, but I haven't watched it yet, so we'll see. We'll see. If it's good, we'll play it on the show next week. Speaking of next week on the show, Sean Bishop will be here. And somebody else that I can't remember now. Boy, what a surprise. What a surprise. But some great people coming up. I have talked to and booked Patrick Long will be back vacationing for the summer, but he will be back in August. First or second week of August. I can't remember, but he's coming back soon. And comedian Dean Del Rey. You guys know him? Very, very funny guy.
So funny.
Been on Conan, been everywhere. He's a very funny guy. He's got his own podcast. And he'll be here also in August. And gosh, I don't remember. There were some other cool people too. Chris Jacobs is going to be back. Talk to him from the Overhauling in the old days. But the podcast I just did with Greg Grumberg called 0 to 60, and obviously all of the Barrett Jackson and everything else that he does. You guys know him. Who else? There was a bunch of people that like you had asked for, so we reached out, and some of them we actually got. Howard Stern I haven't reached out to yet. Sorry about that. But I do remember that he was on your list. I think people are just throwing out. It's almost like, well, let's see who they can actually get now, because they threw out Leno thinking we wouldn't get Leno, and we always didn't ask Leno because we knew we probably could get Leno.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible. I didn't mean it like that, but if you want to know what I do mean, watch me on the Letterman podcast.
People talk and we deliver.
Oh, I just tried to stop. You didn't read my signal.
I'm the worst. Hi, everyone. I'm the worst.
No, now that we're going, I want to hear what it was, because I'm sorry.
I forget. It's fine.
No, when we ask what you want to see,
People talk, we deliver, like, but not worth stopping everything.
No, I'm sorry. It was my fault. How are you feeling today? I know the answer. As usual, you look freaking adorable.
Some really hurtful things were said, and it just made everything
Oh, I'm
go
so
away.
sorry. I'm so sorry. I was just kidding. Oh, my gosh, I'm so sorry. Please, I feel terrible. I was totally just joking.
That was just one of many.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel terrible. Oh, gosh. Well, you're here for this life. All right.
What did I do now?
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, in seriousness, you're dealing with a lot with your MS. We're trying to get you into new doctors. You just got approved to do, I don't know, something with insurance, an EKG or something. So we're going to go figure that out. You're dealing with a heck of a lot right now. I mean, like a lot, heck of a lot.
Yep. It's my life now. Like, whatever. Like, I can't complain about anything. There's nothing left.
Oh. Well, I hate to say it. Sometimes we kind of need to do this. I mean, not that we wanted to do it on the show, but I mean, I don't feel like you do this. I don't want to encourage you to, but I don't feel like you share or release enough, considering everything you're going through.
When someone interviews with me, I'll talk forever. But, like, this is not my thing. Like, it's not my place to talk, and I don't want to be written up that I cried again. So, please don't. Mike's not here. But, like, makes me crazy. Because it's not what is external is not what's going on. So when people, it's like reading, like saying what emotions are, what people are feeling, it's like you're just narrating what you feel. Shut up.
Oh. Yeah. You're just saying out loud what's going on inside.
That's what people do, and that's fine, but it's not what I do, and it doesn't always match. And so when people try to tell me what they see as if it's what's happening, it's like, you don't know. Like, ask questions. I'll tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm not going to proffer information, and I don't want to listen to people talk at me. It's not enjoyable at all.
Mm.
So, there's that rant over.
This is stupid, but do you feel any better?
A little.
Oh. All right. Well, there's a lot of people out there that love the hell out of you. I mean, like, I think more than you even imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't help.
No one tells me. So I'm really alone in this, and, like...
I feel like everybody tells you when they see you.
You do...
No? I don't want to... It doesn't seem that way to you?
No. And I don't see people often like I used to, so it's very different. Everything's different.
Mm.
And I put so much pressure on you to, like, pick up everything. Every kind of slack that I can't do anymore. More and more, day by day. And it makes me insane when people think they can talk to me as if they know, and they don't.
Something happened in particular today? Or is it just added? It's just all added up? I mean, it's 5 years of this shit.
We had a conversation earlier that just, like, the people closest to you point out the things you hate the most about yourself by accident.
Yeah, we do that.
So, today was that over and over, and I can't take it anymore. I'm done.
It's going to be super hot tomorrow, but I really think that you should come up to Breakfast Club, even if we don't stay long, because you didn't get to go last week, and I think... While it doesn't seem like a big deal, I really think that that's good for you.
It's huge. Thank you.
And we don't have to stay. I mean, we'll just play it by ear.
Thanks. I'll come down.
No, it's all right. The truth is, I think people probably are happy to see that, even though it's awful to watch and to see you have to go through. I think people kind of wonder how you do it, and then also, how bad could it be if she's not like that all the time? Like, if it's really as bad as they say it is on the show, how come she's not like what you just displayed all the time?
I am. Feel free to ask. All the time.
Well, they don't see.
No one asks. I'm so done talking about it. It's like narrating emotions again. Like, I'm a living example of what that looks like. I'm so tired.
Here, I wasn't watching the chat because I'm used to producer Mike doing it, but there's a lot of support for you here. Great Eye says, I lost a sibling and a sister-in-law in the past 2 weeks. Overwhelming. Seeing you two enjoying life is such a reminder of unconditional love. I mean, that's a beautiful thing to say. We are not perfect. I am the furthest thing from perfect. She's closer than I am these days. It's all very hard. It's all very hard. Life is, by the way, getting harder and harder, in my opinion. I don't know if it's because we're getting older or because it's speeding up or the world, the stuff everybody's dealing with. It's not just you, if it makes you feel any better. I mean, I know that's... I'm trying to say it's the same. We all feel exactly like you do. I'm not saying that even a little bit.
Everyone's got something.
Yeah. Well, I give you a lot of credit. I know that wasn't intentional, so I feel like you handled it pretty well. Life is hard, not fair. Hug more, says. And then someone else says, no one is perfect. Love each other and never quit. Yeah, that's tough. It's tough on the harder days, isn't it? How do you turn that around? Because sometimes, the funk will bring you down, and even the happiest person in the world will get depressed. And then if you already suffer from that kind of thing, well, it's really easy to go down the rabbit hole. And if you've got something on top of it that you're dealing with 24/7, you don't even MS people don't MS people. Those people with MS don't even get the restorative time that the rest of us get when we sleep. We can have a bad day or a bad week or a bad month, whatever you're cranking on, and at the end you can rest up and day or two and I'm back to normal. It doesn't work that way. We never do anything we say we're going to do on this show. This was like the proper autoimmunity podcast. Like I don't think you want to be crying every single time, but I feel like you sharing like that is what you could be doing if you wanted to, without putting any pressure on yourself. Almost like a vlog, like an actual vlog. Screw the podcast, screw everything else. If you wanted to, I would totally help you set up a vlog or whatever, where you just had your phone on a tripod or whatever, so you don't have to hold it. Here's me today. Yep, I'm crying again. Or not, or whatever. I'm not telling you to do that. It's just an idea.
I want to write a book again. I'm going to scratch what I had before and write a version of the AA book because I don't want to be the spokesperson for this. And I am not the person to talk about this all the time, but I don't want people to feel like they can't ask and know. So.
It's tough. Let's see. There's a lot going on here. Kat DeLorean says, I hear you asking us all to ask you how you're doing instead of telling you what we think you feel. I will always ask you. I will never assume. I promise to always respect that I don't understand. Sean Keeley says, love you guys and don't worry. It's good to get it out there and not let it build up. I'll be honest. I see a therapist every week. Got a lot of my problems. There's probably more to that. Whatever. Make a complete stranger laugh out loud every day. Yeah, I mean, on whenever there's a show, she does that, right? KATHRYN says, if I am off in my interpretation, I welcome correction. You inspire me, Nicole, every day.
I love her.
I can't imagine, this is someone else, it's Sean Keeley again. I can't imagine all that you're going through, Nicole, but I have a ton of respect for you and watching you fight so hard. Hope I'll see you both up there tomorrow. Auto Kennel just joined. Auto Kennel. I made her cry, and we've been talking about it since. There's a lot going on, but we're purging, and you're going to want to rewind that show. I have a lot of typos, too. Sorry. No, you're great. Nicole, you're an angel. So many people love you. Well, we love the car, and you're in it, so yeah. They're making a joke. And
Hilarious.
Well, yellow, a bunch of exclamation points. So I don't know. I feel terrible that I pulled that out of you, but at the same time, I'm grateful that you shared.
I'll always share. I hopefully won't always cry. It just was really awful.
Is there anything anybody can do right now, me included? And including leaving you alone about it? Anything?
No, just be nice to everyone. Like, all the negative energy is so draining. And no one needs to, I don't need to ask you for anything else, but like, that's the one thing, no negative life. Like, it's so easy. Don't be a dick.
Be kind, rewind.
We had to write it on that.
Of course, on everyone, right? Me too.
Yeah.
Before Blockbuster.
Yep.
For the kids out there, there used to be a thing called VHS. Before Blu-ray, before DVD. I know, I'm talking your great grandparents. There was a thing called VHS, and it was a videotape. You had to rewind it when you were done with your movie. Oh my God. What a sham videotape rewinder is word. Do you remember that? Like, oh, don't ruin your machine. Don't wear out your expensive deck here. Get this other thing to record. So you play them over here, and then you put them over here, and then once everybody had one of those, they were like, well, let's dress it. Now that everyone's got one, we need to make them. So this one's like a car, and this one's like a telephone, and this one's like a duck. They were all shaped like whatever you like, right? Hilarious. This one's a windmill. This one's a speedboat. Whatever. So silly. All they did was rewind videotapes. Hank on camera 4 bought a badge. Well, that'll make her happy. Cha-ching. Thanks, Hank. Like a tip at a bar. I miss that in the old days. You used to give somebody a good tip. They go ring the bell. County line coffee, cars and coffee says, yeah, letting it out is probably the best therapy. This is your house. Cry if you want. Lots of love from your friends here. That's a fucking good point. Everything I just said a minute ago about like, oh, trying to make the house a fancy show. We're still in the house. You feel free to be however you are going to be.
I know, but I like being professional. I
don't know how professional you were when you were professional. I think
Probably
you sort of
not.
got through all the shit that you got through because you sort of weaved between those lines.
I did, but I grew up not being able to just be. Like, I had to put makeup on every day before I went downstairs. Like,
Yeah, I know what you mean there.
so,
I mean about the overcritical nature of that environment.
yeah. So when you grow up that way, it becomes automatic second nature. And who I was around, and when cameras became ever obsequious, like, everyone had one with lenses and shit. And I was in tabloids every week, like,
Yeah.
with whoever I was
Well,
accompanying.
there were
doing
rumors even started because you were always with different people.
so dumb. And like, I'd combat that with people I was talking to at those tabloids to get features on other clients. And they were like, but I saw a photo of you with so-and-so. It's like, you of all people know that's nothing.
Yeah. Can you imagine now? I mean, those were the days of people, Us Weekly, like early TMZ, maybe?
Yeah.
TMZ was around, but
And I was there when it started.
like it was Nikki Fink back in the old days.
Yep.
But there weren't that many sources.
No, and you knew who wrote stuff. Nikki always like edited every piece that went out.
And if you had something, you could then call that person because you
Yeah.
could talk to them.
Like, I knew what happened, so I knew if what they wrote was crap. So I could call Nikki and be like, that didn't happen. Talk about something else you want to make up, but not that.
Something. That's right. Make up whatever you want, just not this today. Well, I guess yeah, whatever. It's everything is so flip flop because TMZ used to be tabloid news. It came across as tabloid news, and nowadays, official news sources use TMZ as their investigative reporting. I mean, it's totally flipped. It's like, well, if we really want to get to the bottom of this, we'll hire TMZ to get on it.
Yeah.
Crazy. Smiles help the soul. Sending hugs, many hugs. We love Nicole. I want to see that smile with those beautiful dimples. Please tell me this group doesn't need an explanation of Be Kind Rewind. I'm not that old, am I? Yeah, no, you are that old. We are all collectively that old. For sure we're that old. Go watch a movie these days. Do you know what's going on or who's in it? I don't. I mean, I'm trying these days because we're trying to do their show and make it bigger, so I should be somewhat aware of what's relevant, but I'm not good at it yet. Up at GVB I'm still getting real names versus handles and cars. I mean, it's a slow process. Speaking of which, Jacob Crumbley. Oh, you know what? We should talk about that. That's where we're going to be on Saturday. Well, I'll be there for sure, and depending on, maybe we'll both be there. It's a nighttime thing. But up at the Peterson is the grand. Is it? What would you? It's the launch party for. It's the new magazine that I had here the other day, and I don't right now. But imagine I'm holding it up right now. There's a beautiful Lamborghini Countach on the cover of one of them, and it's a membership program you can join, and I recommend you do. The guys are really, really nice, and the magazine is great, very high quality, and they've been really great so far. They kind of made a big splash in the industry. I don't know what you call the car community. community. They were nowhere, and now they're here, and they're kind of everywhere, and they're doing great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I maintain, like, guys like Jacob Crumbly on the street team being the face of it helps a lot because they're there at the Playset, shaking the hands and meeting the people. It's great. There have been a lot of these that have come and gone that, I don't know, haven't always done that. Like, let the product speak for itself, and that totally is great for this artist brain mentality over here, but it will never get your shit seen.
Yep.
That's so crazy about TMZ. Tide has turned from Inquirer status to breaking news. Yeah, straight up. That's what I was saying, except you wrote the headline. Well done. And that was a thing, too, you were around for. When it used to be like, oh, here's a story, and the headline matches. Because the same person wrote them both. And then at some point, someone would turn in their story, and an editor would approve it. And then at some point, between that point and when it goes to print and we all see it, someone else would rewrite the headline.
Yeah, clients hated that, and they called me all the time to be like, that's not what I said.
It's the beginning of clickbait.
Oh, it was a nightmare.
Because it was like, oh, we want them to click. We're massaging what the article is to get them to click on it to read it.
And when you're dealing with people that involves their lives, like what they have going on in our business, it affects contracts, and it was a mess.
Yeah, for sure. I know you probably miss walking and physical stuff, but do you miss the business and that job?
I miss doing it with people I liked, but the ones that just wanted to pay to have stuff fixed, I can do without.
Yeah, crisis management type. Like, hey, I said this. Hey, I did this. Hey, I brought this on a plane. That kind of thing.
People that own their crisis, like the people I worked with initially, that want desperately, genuinely to do better. You have to own the mentality of like, you've got 3 movies coming out and you did something really horrible. How do we talk about it? And they wanted to help me figure out the right verbiage. People that just want to pay to have you take care of it, no. I don't miss that. That's a lot of time.
Did it shift more towards that in the end as people realized that you could do that? The Ray Donovans of the world, like, oh, just make this go away. Pretend I never said that. Oh, totally. I never saw that woman, whatever.
It happened.
I bet. KATHRYN DeLorean says, everyone says I am furious about Alpha 5, but I said nothing about the car. They go, oh, that must be something else. I'm going through that right now. All right, well, we'll talk about it on the show. So, you know what? Let me throw what was on the agenda out, because none of it was very important. We'll do it on Tuesday. It was just what you watching. And let me remind you, Cars and Comedy at the Marconi, 9/3. Save the date. Save the date. It's going to be a really nice ticket. It's going to be really good dinner. Great talent. I don't mean us. We'll be there as well, but I mean there will be great talent as well as us. And I think I said food. I think there's a silent auction for sure. I'm trying to figure out what to do about the music. It seems like we don't want to overcomplicate this whole thing, but we know so many professional musicians who would probably put together a tiny little pickup band to probably do this thing. We're working on it. It's a work in progress. But Marconi, Cars and Comedy live at the Marconi, 9/3. And what you watching we'll do on Tuesday, because we'll have watched more stuff by then, and GVBC merch, you know what it looks like. It looks like this. We'll do that part. GVBC stuff. Go to Dual Shift and get it. Dual Shift. DUELSHIFT. It's Instagram, online.com. Tell your friends. Now, am I still allowed to do the joke at the end of this, or is that going to push you over the edge again? I feel terrible because I don't even remember what I said last time, but I knew that I didn't mean it to be as inflammatory as it was.
Say whatever. It was all day offhand remarks. Like,
okay.
Say whatever.
Okay. Maybe I won't do that one. Series 1 Films is more than just films. They can set you up with effective marketing solutions like press releases on major news sites, scale your rank on Google, and promote cinematic content for your automotive brand or business. Check them out by going to series1films.com. Series1films.com.
Series1films.com.
That's our friend Taylor, and he did this quick video about Breakfast Club. Watch it now. Excuse me. Hitting this button here. Oh, jeez. Excuse me. What? Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. Or, this one of it. They say all which separates men and boys is the coverage for their toys. What types of toys are we talking about today, Mrs. Ryan?
Collector cars, I think.
Sure. Collector cars is a great place to start. In fact, licensed in most states, St. Clair Insurance shops top providers, so you get the best coverage for your collector car toys. If you want to check them out, which we highly recommend you do, go say hi to Jeff Sinclair over at www.coverageforyourtoys.com, coverageforyourtoys.com,
coverageforyourtoys.com.
And while you're there, tell Jeff St. Clair that Nicole says hello.
Because I can.
Yeah, I screwed it up, but she did it great. You picked up the pieces lovely there. How do you feel about all this?
Great.
No, really. No. I mean, you don't have a reaction to all this?
I'm
I
so
would
focused on how much pain I'm in.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it's great. I'm so sad and I'm in so much pain and I'm trying not to cry like
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. Well, we don't need to do a real break, but I do need to tell you that I'm really excited to talk to my sister from another mister over here. We're going to talk about the DeLorean Legacy for a little bit. Is that all right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So with that, I'm going to bring Kat in over here. Oh my gosh, you really look great. Did you do your hair between the beginning of the show and now?
No.
I
brushed my hair before I got here.
You really did a lot of work over
I
there.
even did my makeup because you were like, you never get dressed up for me, so I did.
That's not what I meant. See, apparently that's my tone today. I think you look great, but you built a whole set and everything going on over there. Where do we start with the DeLorean Legacy?
Well, we'll start with my set. I built a whole set because, we've had all these fun adventures trying to get me on your show with sound and echoes. And as we started to put things together, I had this just sound deadening room. And I said, oh, it's boring. Jason, make it pretty. So Jason did all this for me.
Aw, I love that guy. Yeah. And will we hear him clear his throat at any point tonight? That's how I know when he's in the room.
Yeah, hopefully. So for those who don't know, if you hear my husband clear his throat, it sounds exactly like my father, which is how I knew he was at any sports game or theater production that I was in. I could hear him clearing his throat in the echo of the theater, which was always terrifying. But my husband happens to sound just like my dad when he does it.
It's a distinctive sound. It's not just the sound of...
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's very distinctive.
Well, you look great. Your set looks great.
Thank you.
I love the books. I love the art.
So this is all about the Legacy Project, right? So we have the website for anybody who doesn't know yet. We have DeLoreanLegacy.org. And it was DeLoreanLegacy.com will redirect you there as well. But we wanted to make sure that everybody understood that it's not a commercial site. It's all about the legacy and the movement and the journey that we're all taking together to learn about my dad. We've kind of embraced, in my dad's book, he says that Zachary and I are the best of both him and Christina, and we're the greatest legacy he has.
Wow.
And this whole journey that I started to reconnect with everyone has sort of turned into my finding my father journey that I wanted to start, where I learned about who John DeLorean was from all the people who were there when he was alive, and could tell me all the things that I didn't ask him when he was alive. So the Legacy Project has turned into the journey to find my dad, as well as to connect with everyone and to build this positive story and to learn all the truths and the little bits of truth that are missing from the stories, and kind of share them out there. So with your help, we started to build the podcast. You helped me figure out how to do a lot of this. So thank you. And the story of how the whole project got started is still wild and crazy, but what we've started to do is formalize everything. So we've got all the projects that are going. The website is up now. So if anybody wants to go, if you want to reach me and tell me your story, everybody's sending me their messages on Facebook and Instagram, and that's fine, but there's a lot. So if you want to tell me just your story, go ahead and send it to Kat at DeLoreanLegacy.org. And if you want to schedule an interview with me, go ahead and send an email to Jason at DeLoreanLegacy.org. And we're scheduling interviews with people to tell me their story for the podcast. We're scheduling interviews with we have so many friends and family to interview. It's been amazing. And I started with Fred Dellis because he has both the friend and the business aspect of the story. And this, it's going to be a multi-part interview because
Excellent.
he had so much to say.
Well, and the inside of that one was we were trying to do that on this show here,
Yes.
but Fred was not available on Thursday. He was available on Wednesday. So, and then Kat and I were going to do it together. And she's like, you know what? I think I got this. And she went and did it herself. So I'm just so proud of you. I just want to say that before we even get to what the result is. I'm so proud of you for tackling it yourself, jumping right in the pool.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of help from Jason. He spent a lot of time figuring out the software and everything, and we got it going. We didn't actually get him on camera because we couldn't get him to do so. So it's him on speakerphone, which is why it's going to take a little while to edit, unless you just want to see me sitting here twiddling my thumbs, which is less fun than some of the graphics I have to add to it. So it's very, very exciting. I asked him about this first time. I asked him questions about how he met my dad, and that story is super fun. I did not know it, and it is a really cool story. And then he started to talk about kind of what his place was in the original company, because of course he had Legend Industries, and they built the twin turbo. And he went into kind of the project that they had coming later in the early 90s. So the D2 project came in the late 90s, but there was one before that. And it was this project in Louisiana. And it's this really crazy story about how close they came to actually producing the next car. And he tells us all about that. And he also, I spoke to him today about the four-seater car, because I asked him, I said, you know, we were talking about all the stuff that you worked with my dad, and he worked with him from the first company all the way through to his death. And I said, what do you know about this four-seater car? He said, oh, we were supposed to build it. And so he started to tell me about how Legend Industries was actually the ones who were supposed to build this four-seater car, the D24.
Wow.
And so I guess the company has the designs from Ital Design, because it was the original designer's company is now designing the Alpha.
Right.
So they have the designs for the car, but the actual story for what goes into the D24, Fred Dellis has that, which is so cool.
Awesome.
So he's got all these like little tidbits of information that I just didn't know, and even the really amazing things that he did, like I didn't know he almost had the Roush, the Ford contract that ended up going to Roush. So instead of buying Roush Mustangs, you would have been getting Legend Mustang. Yeah, so cool.
That's crazy. Wow.
I know, he's such an amazing person.
Can you it would have been Legend then? So they would have been Legend Mustangs?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what he would have called it, but
Crazy.
but he would have had the contract. So, and that actually was going to be his comeback from losing everything. Because I asked him, I said, you know, everybody asks me, why did you stick around? He lost more than anybody else. And he stayed with my dad as a friend until the very end, when nobody else did, who didn't even have as much impact to their lives.
Does that answer the question?
What?
Like because they were friends, he stuck with him till the end. Is that what it is?
No, he answers the question. He he went into business with him before they became friends. But you have to watch to get
I
all the
can't wait.
answers.
Yeah,
I'm
good
not going to
tease.
tell
Good tease.
you.
Good tease.
So that's really exciting. And all of the interviews, what's been amazing about this is it's a journey back in time to talk to all these people that knew me when I was really small or knew my father throughout my life, and I get to be reminded of things that happened when I was little or told stories that I don't even remember that happened when I was little. Um, and just learn some really interesting, neat things about my dad that I didn't know that it's been really special. And somebody said something to me during this journey. They said, you know, that's really special. When my father dies, I won't have the opportunity to revisit his life the same way 20 years later. That's kind of amazing. And I said, yeah, it really is. So we've
I
been
have
having
to.
a lot of fun.
I'm curious also if these tidbits that you're unearthing, you know, it's one thing when you hear stuff throughout your family lineage, like, oh, the stories that your parents tell or your aunt or uncle tells. But I would imagine that people who aren't family, colleagues and admirers of your dad and stuff like that, they probably have a different perspective that might be a little bit more honest and true than family. Family has a way, in my experience anyway, has a way of sort of like things get a little, you know. And but I'm thinking these other people, they have these their memories that have affected them in different ways without that drama.
Mm.
So is
It,
that
it's
is oh
really,
go ahead.
yeah, no, it's really very special to talk to these people who knew him in different ways for different reasons. So, to your point, yes, I don't know that in my situation, the family does the whole thing that you're talking about. Even in the family, my father has been thrown very much under buses. So I don't know, but very much these people that I'm talking to, they have this. When I talk to them, they almost get that glassy eyed look that you can hear in their voice, that far away memory of somebody really special in their life. I don't know how else to describe it. When somebody's thinking about a loved one they lost and somebody who's really truly important to them, and you can hear it in their voice, you can hear the look on their face in their voice when they talk about him, because he was somebody who impacted their lives so tremendously and was so important to them that they think of him that way. And that's why I want these people to tell their stories, because everybody can tell the stories about what happened in business. And if you talked to my father later in his life, he would tell you 1,000 times all the regrets he has. He wrote about a lot of them in his book, and everything he would do differently, all the lessons he learned. What you never get to hear about is this man who was okay. I talked to Ken Baker just this week, and he told me a story about getting the wrong pizza and how he's going to tell this on my podcast as well, but this was a great story. He was in Bedminster and he ordered a pizza, and the pizza was delivered to him, and it was the wrong pizza. So he called the pizza place, and the guys, he hears in the background, "You mixed up the DeLorean and the Baker pizza." So he said, so the guy says, "Oh, it's okay. We'll take care of it. We'll get you a new pizza." He said, "Did I hear that you mixed up my pizza with Mr. DeLorean?" He says, "Yes." He says, "Okay, I'll call him. I have his number. It's okay." And the pizza guy's like, "Are you sure?" He says, "Yeah." So he calls my dad. He says, "Mr. DeLorean, it's Ken Baker. Do you remember me from BMW?" And my dad says, "Yeah, how are you doing?" He says, "Did you happen to get the wrong pizza?" And my dad starts laughing. He says, I think I got your pizza and you got mine, and I'll bring it over." So he brings the pizza over, and my dad looks at him and says, "Do you have anybody to eat that with?" And he says, "No." He says, "Come on in." And so he
That's your
sat
dad
and
right
he
there.
had, yes. And so he sat and he ate pizza with my dad. He said he had a conversation with him like he was a next door neighbor. And it was just this tremendous moment in his life. But that's my dad. And that's not the story people hear. That's
Yeah.
not the person people are learning about. And that's the person we know. So the person I want everybody else to see, especially those who love him so much, because I want to validate their love for him. I want them to know he is that person that they think he is. And we all end up in places in our lives where there are difficult decisions and difficult roads and things that can happen to us for whatever reason. If every single one of us were judged by the single or biggest bad decision we've made in our life, and that was what went on our tombstone, where would we all be when we like, nobody would want to have a legacy to leave behind because it'd be terrible, right? So
Yeah. What's the point, right?
yeah. So let's talk about the, I mean, because he's truly a phenomenal person who had more patents than years on this earth, which my husband reminds me constantly. That's impressive, right?
It is. It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Do you have any of them today?
No, well, no. I mean, I think some of them could still be. So some of them still are his personal patents, but they are ones that wouldn't make anybody any money. They are all patents to help mankind.
Right. That's your dad.
So
Again,
yes,
these are all the
that's my
things
dad.
that people don't know. That like Bedminster that you just talked about a few minutes ago, your childhood home there, at least the country house. The fact that became, was it Trump's golf course? Whatever the fuck.
Yes,
The fact that
yeah.
it became a golf course and everything. Your dad's intention for all of that was to not give it back to the people, but he wanted to make like a center out of it. Isn't that right?
Yeah, he wanted to. So this is a good segue to the charity stuff. So I've actually been working on this kind of project that I wanted to work on that encompasses green energy and some of the concepts of eco villages and things like that to reduce costs, to actually help create a small intentional village where people could have their basic needs met and you pull people out of poverty. It's a lot more complicated than that, but that's the gist of it.
Right.
And when I started to describe this to BJ, who was the woman who dated him his whole life, I call her my mom because she raised me. And I described this to her, and she said, "That's what your dad wanted to do with the farm." And she went on to describe word for word what I was wanting to do, but without all the green and all of the things that came to fruition since his death. And I started crying. I mean, I lost it because it was identical to what I wanted to try and do. So part of what Jason and I were working on before all of this happened, before this wonderful explosion of incredibleness with the legacy stuff happened, was to turn the mill that we had into a memorial center, a memorial community center, and a teen center that helped to bring maybe automotive engineering programs to where we are in New Hampshire, but to offer somewhere for kids to go to have some STEM available to them, to bring in some of the ability that I have to bring people in, to teach them, to show them things, and to help create something that will honor my father in the way that he would have wanted, because he created all of these social programs at GM. And that's part of one of the things that we actually want to tap into, is potentially working with corporate training programs to try and bring satellite offerings for people to have
what a great idea.
ways to get training in more rural areas, and then offer them ways to actually get them to some of these corporate locations. So we're really trying to embrace what he had started to do in his life and the social justice programs that he had started to put into place, and build those out as part of the legacy project. And it's all starting with this ridiculous mill that we have. So
ridiculous mill. I mean, I know why it's ridiculous, but why is it ridiculous?
Well, so,
and also, before you say that, before you jump in there, look at this. Barf Baby says la la la, but they also say hi, Kat.
Hi.
Jen Zidek says John Bellamy Foster metabolic rib. Maybe you know what that is, maybe not. Talk about Andrew Tate. Maybe we'll do that. Okay. Bugatti Chiron, okay. 7 supercars. What a moment. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, this must be from earlier. Sorry about that. But people love seeing Nicole, barf baby included. Auto Kennel can't make it tomorrow, but I'm hugging you, Nicole. Wish I could take your pain away and launch it into space. So far from you. Oh, that's beautiful. And then Jen Zidek also says capitalism is organized crime. Blade Bronson says beware of those next door neighbors, though, with the pizzas. All right, so now back to you. And the mill. I know why the mill's funny, but tell everybody else.
Okay, so for those who have come to hear the story of the mill, now is the time. And for those who don't know the story of the mill, now is the time. A few years ago, my husband and I moved to this fantastic mill building in Greenville, New Hampshire, which happens to be one of the first textile mill buildings in the state of New Hampshire. It may be one of the first dams that was actually built in New Hampshire for the Industrial Revolution, which is pretty cool. We're still trying to track that down. But the dam was built, I believe, in 1765, with the mill building that's there now having been built in the 1800s, but then rebuilt in 1902.
But so regardless, either way, this property is hundreds of years old. Hundreds of years old.
And the reason why I go back into how old it is because the building is alive with all of the energy and the history that's in this building. It's kind of amazing. And we moved into this building with the intention of living there for a while, restoring this building, and then turning it into community centers. That was always our plan. And this building it's hundreds of years old, but in the early 2000s, it was turned into a research facility for a company called, oh gosh, why can't I remember? What was it called? Seagate. Seagate International, right? Not Seagate. Seachange. Seachange International. Seagate's the hard drive company. So
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And this company actually helped revolutionize digital ad content delivery in television. They won an Emmy for it. So this digital ad content delivery actually turned into the backbone platform for streaming. So streaming was born kind of in this building to an extent.
What the frig? Are you kidding?
Yeah. No, it's really cool.
Wow. So like the protocols we use today may have possibly stemmed, forgive the pun, from your building.
Well, so a lot of the streaming platforms that run today actually run on this backbone.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
cool.
It's really kind of amazing. And
well, thank you for making this possible. Then I guess we owe you all a great deal, a great service.
It's cool. When we got there, there was a 56K U.S. robotics driver disc. Yeah. And the other day we were cleaning everything in our house and Jason went to throw it away and I went, "Don't do that!" And he goes, "Why?" I said, "Oh my God, that's Millie's driver disc. Don't do that. That's so important to the history of the mill."
Totally. I'm with you. It's a first gen iPod for sure.
Yeah. And when we got there, on the whiteboard was actually like formulas and stuff that they had for figuring this stuff. It was like middle out going on the board. It was crazy.
Wow.
So it was kind of amazing. And this was the research facility for it. So when we got there, there was components everywhere, like in floors and it was really kind of cool.
Well, it's right up your alley, being an IT tech person. I mean, you know what all these pieces are.
Yes. Well, and that's kind of how we found it. Jason was looking for a church to convert and move into, and he saw this building, and because Jason, he wants the stained glass window of Jesus over his bed. That's what he wants.
That's right. He deserves it. God damn it.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's just.
Why would you want to deny him that, Kat? It's what he wants.
I didn't deny him that. He found the mill. This was not my fault. You cannot blame me for this. It's his fault. He found the mill.
Okay, all right. So you find the mill.
Well, he was looking for a church, and all I hear. So, okay, let me back up a little. We had decided to move, and we decided to stop looking because we weren't ready to move yet, and I didn't want to go through what we ended up going through when we sold our house.
I was going to say, at what point do we talk about how you sent me and probably other friends emails about, I think we have a fantastic investment opportunity. What do you think about this old mill in New Hampshire?
So we had decided to stop looking, and he didn't stop looking. And one night I'm sitting next to him in bed, and he goes, "It has a server room." I said, "What has a server room?" And he shows me this building, and I went, "What is that?" And I said, "Go tell them we want it now." He says it's under contract, or it's on contingency, something like that. I said, "Tell them we'll pay them full price cash and then see what they say." He's like, "It's already under contingency." I said, "I don't care. Send her an email and tell her we'll pay full price cash. Because if we had the equity in our house, we could have paid full price cash for it, because it wasn't very much money." It came complete with, like, filled with mold, dead bodies, blood everywhere. It was not a pretty sight.
It's not the Silicon Valley finished product you're envisioning at home,
No.
folks.
No. But because it was that facility in the early 2000s, we didn't have to worry about the electrical and the plumbing and stuff. It was all up to code. Right?
Oh,
it wasn't 1800.
Right.
Yeah. So
well,
that's
wasn't the building also generating electricity? Separate.
So that's all right. That's where the story gets. That's where the story turns into the mill. So the reason why I haven't spoken about the mill in so many years is it came complete with a hydroelectric facility in the basement that we opted not to purchase at the time we purchased the building. So the hydroelectric was sold as separate of the building, which means the person selling the building was selling it to two different people that he did not have to deal with ever again. And
you guys figure it out.
He left us with a lease that was not what we had agreed to. And when we tried to enforce even the smallest provisions of it, like please carry the correct amount of insurance, we were accused of insurance fraud because we were asking for the amount of insurance that was stated in the lease. I don't know. Like, I have no idea how that's insurance fraud. But
I think the issue here is you had a I don't want to say a problem tenant, but you had an opportunity with your tenant.
I still have.
Oh, beautiful. Problem. Fantastic.
Yeah. So,
somehow I thought this was wrapped up by now.
I wish
we're talking years of this shit.
I wish it was. Well, we've tried to settle it every which way till Tuesday, but this person only wants to. Okay, so we had a purchase and sales agreement to actually sell it to them for a very reasonable price. And they went through the whole purchase and sale, and at the end of it said, "Nope, I'm not going to buy it, but I'll give you 50 grand for it." So that's what we've been going through. That's literally what we've been going through. He challenged our 3-year-old variance. He went to the town and said that we shouldn't be able to live there. He forced us to install a meter on the electricity to charge him for electricity. Then went to the tried to say we did something illegal.
All right. Well, the ins and outs of it don't matter too. Also, I want to point out that you don't live at this location currently. This is someplace you don't live now.
No, yeah. And so this was all this. I mean, this is all this crazy stuff that's happened, right? I don't live there anymore because who can live in that? Right. He had people break into our house. I was accosted in my driveway. He wanted to send a vendor
I don't want
over. Yeah.
I feel like we're laying down a legal record here.
Yeah. No. Let's not do that. So anyway, so this was what happened, right? So eventually one day, this is great. One day we're trying to figure out what to do. I'm miserable. Life is, and I call BJ and I pray with BJ, who is this just wonderful. Like, praying with BJ is a whole other experience. It's transcendental. And in the middle of praying, I said, BJ, I gotta go. I know the answer. And I go to Jason. I said, I love you. Amen. We'll pray later. And I go to Jason. I said, Jason, why don't we leave? Why don't we,
Why don't we move? I got it. Hey, by Jove. You know what? We're miserable here. I've been thinking about it for months. I think I might have the solution to our problems. You used to call me. I mean, the amount you were so stressed out over this situation. I don't want to make light of it because this was like hell for you for months and really kind of years.
It was years because it was every single day. It was every single day. It was something different. And like I said, somebody broke into my house. I was accosted in my driveway and like all of these things. So it's not so simple that we could move because we couldn't sell this place because of what's happening with it.
The new people would have the same problem you do.
Well, it's more than that. It's that he sued us, and so there's a lawsuit, and then there's all this, like, you can't sell a building with a lawsuit. People aren't going to buy a building that has a lawsuit on it. So I just said, we were looking for land to try and invest in for a conservancy in the name of my father. We were actually going to try and buy some land in Alaska and have Zach be the conservator of it and all this crazy stuff. So we were actually looking already to invest in some land, but I said, let's go let's just go buy something close by that we can escape to so that we have somewhere to go because we can't escape this situation. And it turns out we find this place, which the story we already told of Glen Antrim Farm. But it turned into the whole ridiculous story of Glen Antrim Farm and learning about Antrim and the car being built in Antrim and then this house having the same floor and all of this stuff.
And it also being a really great thing for your family. Like you guys found the perfect place for your family.
Yes, it's kind of amazing. It's really amazing. And so now we're here and we're able to settle and everything's starting to fall into place and we have this building. And Casey's been living there with her boyfriend who is like, they're both just amazing. I love them to death.
Casey, your daughter.
My daughter, yes.
Yep.
And
so it's in the family.
It's still in the family, yeah. And so what we want to do with it, though, is we wanted to turn it back into the community center that we've always wanted to turn it into. And when we moved here to Antrim, the reason why I brought it full circle to Antrim, when we moved here to Antrim, so my daughter, Sarah, my youngest daughter, she started high school as a high-risk child in the middle of a pandemic in a new state where she didn't already have friends.
Oh, awful.
Yes. So when we got here, there was a teen center and she was really struggling to meet kids because you can't really socialize the way that school was set up during the pandemic. So we reached out and we found this teen center and they had virtual cooking in the beginning and she loved it. And then she started to go there and she started to connect with people and it was really tremendously helpful for her. And so I said to Jason, I said, there's nothing for these kids to do in Greenville where we came from. Why don't we take our building and we turn it into a teen center like what helped Sarah? And also the school that's there happens to have a fully decked out, amazing 5-bay garage that is so good. They ship kids from other school districts to take the automotive program there.
Wow.
But you have to choose between auto shop or engineering. And I don't want that to be the case. So I want to offer them an automotive engineering program and a STEM program because I am the computer geek that we can offer through this teen center that full circle incorporates all of the social programs that my father had started to put into place when he was at places like GM, things like that to help.
The fact that you're adding automotive and engineering you're pairing them together is just so cool. I mean, it just describes you, and then on the complete flip side, for all the other reasons, your dad.
Yeah. So that's the whole
Oh
story
my
of,
gosh.
of the mill and how we ended up where we are, and how this all came to be and what's going on
Oh,
and
that's
all
so
that stuff.
great. That's so great. Well, how do you feel after giving everybody an update?
I feel exhausted. Wow, that was a lot of talking.
I think you're exhausted from starting podcasting. I think everyone thinks this is easier than it is.
Oh my gosh, no. What are they crazy? Look, I even have a note card. See.
Nice. But like just it's when you think, oh, you just have a conversation with somebody. It sounds so easy. And it's not always very easy.
No,
So
because how do you pick somebody to have the conversation with? There's a lot of people who want to have conversations with you. So, and then how do you make sure it's engaging? And
right. How do you make sure it's a good
and then-
conversation for the audience?
And even if it's a good conversation, how do you make sure that it's fun to watch if you want to have a video to go along with it? Because, for instance, my first interview with Fred is me sitting here going, yeah, yeah, right? So
that's pretty much what we do.
Yeah, but there's at least a back and forth. With me, it was just me sitting here going, yeah, yeah, oh, yeah. But so we're gonna add some graphics and stuff. But you have to figure it out. Like what are the questions you're gonna ask? You have to know ahead of time what the story is, so you know how to be engaging. And
Well, also, let me just do the math on this one, because your dad was he 79 or 80 when he died?
80.
80 in 2005, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking he'd be 97 if he were alive today, right? Is my math right there? Is that right?
Sure.
17 years later. So how old is Fred? He was his contemporary.
No, Fred is not that old, actually.
Oh.
So what's interesting about Fred is, I mean, Fred's no spring chicken. But,
No, but he probably has a cell phone, I'm guessing. I mean, he could have done this
yes,
on video.
yes. Well, he could have, but he couldn't at that time, right? And that's the other challenge, is that I am going to be interviewing all of his friends who are very much way into their older years, and the whole technology thing is a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not like they can just come sit on your couch and you handle the rest. I mean, they have to set something up and figure it out. Yeah.
So,
Well,
funny story. I actually have one of them who moved to New Hampshire and is going to be, yes.
I'm the king of segues tonight. This is awesome. So who is it, and they're going to come to you?
Yes, we're gonna do a live interview. His name is Michael Aschenbrenner. He is a famous artist. He's a wonderful man. And he's one of the few stories of people that I met when I was really young that I remembered my whole life. Oh, and he found me on Instagram and reconnected with me, and we would talk about how much I loved New Hampshire. So he got a house in New Hampshire and came out here, and now, yeah. Yeah.
This is all on the up and up. I mean, it sounds a little crazy.
No, he still has his house in California.
New Hampshire. I love New Hampshire.
He's retired. It's a great place for artists. It's a beautiful state.
This is the last bus to Winnipesaukee, Bob.
Baby steps on the bus. He's got the goldfish around his neck. You remember that? Oh my God! What about Bob? That's what it sounds like.
A little bit.
No,
he followed her all the way up to New England.
He didn't follow me. He has his house in California. He has his wife, and they just liked New Hampshire. It's a beautiful state. So they came, and they're definitely not going to stay for the winters. They're going to be going back for winters.
New Hampshire's the live free or die hard, right? No, I did that wrong. Live free or die.
Live free or die, but I say it's live free and die, because they actually have really ridiculous, like, no seatbelt laws, no car insurance required, no helmet laws, no disclosure laws for a purchased house.
What?
Yep.
We're in California, so we're like on the other side of all of those things. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. Wow. Okay, so I
Yeah.
see. Okay, I get it. All right, so some people are going to Texas, and then some people are going to. All right, cool. Wow. Whew.
Wow.
Those were some big pluses. I don't know. I think that you need a seatbelt, car insurance, and what's the other one? Helmets. Helmets.
Those are big.
Also, disclosures on the house is a big deal. They don't have to disclose foundation problems, anything, nothing.
Well,
Yeah.
you have like really old houses there, right? And it's East Coast. There's water damage. Like if that's all.
Her thing could have been anything. People could have been killed there. I mean, it's hundreds of years old. It could have been part of the Revolutionary War.
That I feel like people need to know that stuff.
That's great.
The Civil War uniforms for the North were manufactured in that factory.
Isn't that something? My
Yeah, it's really
when I was in elementary school, shout out to Rockwell School in Bethel, Connecticut. I was there for a couple of years, but the principal, his name was Dr. Fain. Fain, I don't know how you spell that, but Fain, and he owned an inn in New Hampshire that was part of the Underground Railroad. So there was like a hidden room behind the fireplace wall, whatever, where people used to hide while during the when there was. I was going to say when there was racism. I don't know that that's gone away, but when there was slavery and stuff like that, the Underground Railroad.
We visited places like that for field trips at school.
Perfect, exactly. It was the type of place. I swear to God, he bought it so that everyone would take a field trip there. I swear to God, because you're exactly right. Everyone took field trips. Oh, you're hilarious. That's amazing. Good call. Good call on that one. Let's see. Is there anything that was on the list that we didn't cover? I mean, I'm not trying to wrap it up this second, but I think we got to it all.
No,
You're really good. You're like getting so good at this.
Yep.
You're teaching me. It's your fault.
No, I just mean like you. I mean like you are so like you're coming alive doing this, and I feel like you're finally. I don't know. Like I know you love IT and all, but I feel like something like this is really your calling.
You're not the first person to tell me that. The IT that I do now is much more aligned with this. I am a professional content creator. That is my current job. So,
I'm sorry, I keep throwing it into the world of IT. I just 20 years of knowing you, and it's always, or however many, more than that, however many it's always been. Don't want to say the places, but always computer this, computer that.
Yep.
You didn't have an iPhone for years. Do you remember? She was all whatever the hackers used, Droid or Palm. I don't know what you were doing.
No, well, yeah, no, I actually, so I still do IT, but I do the content creation because it's a lot more fun. But you're not the first person to tell me that I seem to be coming into my own or finding myself or seeming to be more of myself while doing this. I think some of that has to do more with connecting with the people that I am.
You guys hear it?
Yep.
All right, put a pin in that because I heard Jason. I heard Jason. Which to me is pretty cool because it's like having John Z in the house. So that was pretty cool. Awesome. All right, back to what you were saying.
I was saying that I think some of it has to do with, or a lot of it has to do with the reconnecting with people. So I'm getting a lot of energy, and it's just the people I'm talking to. They're amazing. I had a 2-hour conversation with Captain Hydrogen today, and it was amazing.
Is there a gas leak in that place of yours? Captain Hydrogen. Who is that?
He's Ben Ferguson. He's Captain Hydrogen.
Right.
Yeah, and we had a fantastic conversation about alternative energy and social equity projects and all kinds of stuff. And at the end of the conversation, I just felt recharged and energized. And so it's all of everybody. It's everybody out there who's helping me. But I appreciate that because I enjoy this. I really do.
Do you feel more connected to your dad going through all this? I know the whole thing is finding your father, but I mean, is it working?
Yes, I do. I actually, there are times where I am positive that he's talking to me. That's like sending me messages through, not like I'm not hearing his voices, just so you all know, but just like where you feel like you know what the right answer is, or the right thing to do, or the right next choice to make, and it feels like I'm being guided to make those choices or to find those things. So
I know what you mean, and if it's the same as what I get sometimes from my dad, it's almost like a confidence that he's behind me.
yes, yeah.
It's long gone, long gone. Haven't seen the guy in 20 years, more than that. But somehow he's there and helping.
Well, it's it could be the ancestral DNA thing that the whole Assassin's Creed, they're onto something,
Oh yeah, dude. We talked about this the other day on the phone, the whole multiverse thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I buy it. I'm in on that one. I'm full in on that one. You get some people like Bitcoin. I'm in on the multiverse. I haven't figured out how to monetize it yet, but I think it's real.
They've proven genetic memory. So an animal or a mouse that is taught to fear something, the children of that generations later will still fear that thing, even though they've never been exposed to that fear stimuli. So
I watched that one.
DNA.
I watched that one on that channel you told me to go to. I watched that one. I watched it just yesterday. That's amazing. Even the mice's grandchildren still have it.
Yes. Mm-hmm, exactly. So there is something to the fact that you have a lot of the knowledge and memories that your ancestors have created. So, it could be that you have the confidence and the guidance of your father or your parents, and it doesn't have to be that there's a spirit talking to you or a ghost in your head or you're hearing voices. It could just be your ancestral DNA guiding you based on the knowledge that's there, because intuition is just based on prior knowledge, right?
Yeah. Pattern reading, really.
Mm-hmm.
Pattern recognition. This is fascinating. I love that you are going to these places with your thoughts and your exploration. I share a lot of these thoughts and feelings, and I've never done acid in my life. A lot, not the blind she has, but some people say, "Oh, you got to go on sort of an acid trip and sort of figure out all that stuff to lose your ego and get to this place." I've never done it, and I totally share these views. I think it's awesome. I love you so much.
I love you too. Yeah, it's funny that you say traveling. I'll have one last segue. One of the things that Jason and I were talking about doing when Sarah graduates is actually going on a road show, and taking the show on the road and meeting all of the DeLorean people worldwide. Go to Italy, Hungary, Ireland, every state. And because all these people that I'm meeting, they're just as fascinating as my dad.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's because Captain Hydrogen.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, right? So you.
I will. I just told you I watched your mouse video. Come on, I'm proving my...
I'm saying you, Jay, you are one of the people I met through this whole journey, and you are a very interesting person.
I'm having a rough night over here, if you couldn't tell. I don't understand everybody.
I thought it'd be nice to maybe go have dinner with all the owners and maybe dinner with the DeLoreans or something.
I agree. I hope you'll come to California at some point. I'd like to do it here. I miss you.
Yes. Well,
although, if we're doing a cross-the-country roadshow, we have talked about the same thing. It seems very funny and parallel that we both have sort of a timetable to it. Yours is did you say when she's out of high school? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it would be because she's got 2 more years. If she wants to come on the road and do high school, they're fine. But usually kids want to finish high school.
Yeah, but she didn't exactly start into this one well with the story before, so who the hell knows? Yeah. But this is a very interesting point. What I'm getting at is, maybe we come out there and then we all do it. We do a whole fucking road show. I don't know.
I think it's amazing. Fun.
I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. I'm really proud that you're fucking doing it. Like, you have these ideas and then you're very quickly, rapidly putting together teams and volunteers and stuff, and then you're actually getting stuff done. The website is taking us forever on this foundation thing, and it's nobody's fault. It's a pain. And you're like, oh yeah, the website's up. It's so great.
Okay.
But you're getting shit done. It's awesome.
That's actually, so that's part of, I didn't do that. I went to register the domain, and Angel was like, Oh, by the way, I registered this domain and I was thinking of having people send letters to your dad, maybe a Dear John section where they could say how much he meant to them. I didn't tell you
Oh,
this
dear
story.
John. Oh,
Like
that's funny and hilarious.
I went to register DeLoreanLegacy.com and it wasn't there. And I started getting angry. I was in the middle of getting upset and saying, I just want this one URL. Like, do you think they'll give me just this one? I don't want to fight with people. I just want this one URL. As I'm saying that, Angel messaged me on LinkedIn and says, by the way, I registered this domain. I was thinking of putting this site on there where people could share how much they love your father. I literally typed out, "Are you effing kidding me?" And of course
Yeah.
he's like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "Can I tell you what I'm working on?" And and then he had Alan build the site, the first site, and I literally went to register the domain, and the site, like, here's a domain and a website and also a media blitz. So to be fair, I only did so much, and then it all kind of happened.
Well, then I firmly believe it's supposed to.
Yes, I believe so too, because I didn't plan any of this. This was not how I started this journey. I'm riding the journey as it goes, letting it unfold. And Jason put together the new website, but I have my friend is webmaster. He helped us put it together as well. So I've had a lot of help, and a lot of people, just amazing things happen and fall into place all at once.
And it's
So
DeLorean Legacy Project.com or just
.org.
DeLoreanLegacy.com?
It's DeLoreanLegacy.org, but
.org,
DeLoreanLegacy.com will redirect you there. But I wanted to make sure that it was clear that it's an org and not a com, right?
Got it.
So
Gotcha.
we want to be clear that it's not a commercial thing. It's all about the project, right?
Yeah. No, it's interesting. We had to do the same thing because we were latenightplayset.com and now we're carsandcomedy.org. But totally,
Yes.
I totally get it. Okay, so is there anything else? So they should go check out, obviously, DeLoreanLegacy.org and then follow you at Kat DeLorean on Instagram and where else?
They can find me on Facebook too, although I prefer Instagram. I am not a huge fan of the Facebook.
Yeah.
They can reach me. They can send emails if they want. Again, if they want to reach me and say something to me and tell me your story, please do so at kat@DeLoreanLegacy.org. If you would like to schedule an interview and be on the show, anybody is welcome to come tell their DeLorean story on the show. Send an email to jason@DeLoreanLegacy.org and he will schedule something with you. And just watch for me here and online. And as we go along, I hope we can interact and have some fun together.
Oh, I love it. I love how accessible you're making yourself. It's hard to do. It's like you're really putting yourself out there. It's I give you a lot of credit. You're doing it so quick and easy. It took us forever to get there.
It's well, no, okay, so you say that, but I spent 20 years going to car shows and interacting with people and building the
That's
base.
true.
I only left Facebook. I left Facebook right before the breach was announced years ago. And I'm now coming back to the social media platform to interact with people. So I did already have a lot of skin in the game prior that actually built all of this to get to this point. But the being accessible part is important because the pizza story, anybody could have called my father or shown up at his door and he was always there to speak to people. And
You didn't need a pizza, is your point.
yeah, exactly. And so I wanted to be that accessible to everyone. I wanted to carry on that part of his legacy. That's why my original Facebook page even existed. It was only for the fans, really. There was a whole second part of my Facebook page most people couldn't see that had family pictures and stuff, but the majority of it was just to interact with the people. It's hard though, because I give everybody their time. And it will take me quite a bit of time to get through everyone because I won't just say hi. I will have a conversation with you. But as long as everybody's patient and understands that it's because I'm taking time with everybody else to make sure everybody feels as special as they are to me, then it's all going to be fine. It's hard and it's a lot of work, but at the same time, it's so rewarding because I can give people joy just by gifting them a minute of my time. Why wouldn't I do that?
Right. Well, I mean, but a lot of people don't. I'm giving you credit for doing it. Just say thank you.
Thank you.
I am so damn proud of it. You know, there's one thing. Actually, we're trying to wrap it up, but I have kind of a heavy question I want to ask you. Knowing your dad, we're painting about like what a great guy he was. He was also like he was religious. God was like a big part of his life. Whatever God it was to him, I don't know. But is that something that plays a role in your life? And you don't have to answer that. I'm just kind of curious.
That's an interesting question.
I figured I'd slip it right in here at the end.
Yeah. I am
your
very
dad
religious,
refers to God a lot, but whatever. Go ahead, whatever.
Well, so I have a very good relationship with God. My relationship with God, my approach to religion may not be what other people think or believe. I would call myself a Christian, but I wouldn't frame myself as a Christian as most people would, I suppose.
I think of you as being more spiritual anyway.
I am very spiritual. I believe that everybody should find their own path to God. And as far as religion goes, regardless of what you think of religion or whether or not it's real, there is no discounting the fact that it is something that offers people hope and solace when there is none. And when I had to go through Sarah, when I was pregnant with Sarah, we found out about her having hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which means she only had half a functioning heart when she was in utero. And at this time, I was working a night shift, and there was only myself and one other person in the office. And this person is one of the people that has truly embodied the teachings of Jesus Christ on this earth. I never saw him. He worked in a support job in the middle of the night. I never saw him raise his voice or get frustrated with anybody who called, no matter what was going on. He invited homeless people to Thanksgiving dinner. He would talk to me. I would ask questions. At the time, I wasn't religious. I would ask him questions. He never tried to convince me. He never judged me. He never made me feel like less than because I wasn't a Christian. And at the end of months of sitting in this room, trying to find a way to process being told that I could give birth to a dead child or I had to have an abortion. How do you process that? How do you deal with that? How do you spend 9 months carrying a child you might have to bury as soon as they come out or shortly after? They gave her a 5% chance of survival past the age of 5. And when you're trying to figure that out while going through having moved to a new state in the middle of a divorce custody battle and your dad just died, what do? Who has answers for you but God?
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much for us.
It's exactly. So what happened was I started to listen, and I found a passage in the Bible. I believe it's James 3:16, which is basically, blessed are those who undergo the trials and they don't lose their faith, for they will be given the greatest gift in the kingdom of heaven. And I use this passage to pray every night to God and say, please, God, don't fix it. Just give me the strength to live with your will. Please give me the strength to accept what I have to go through and to be gracious. And every single day I prayed the same prayer, not make her better, not make it go away. Just give me the strength to deal with what you're going to put me through. And in that time, it gave me what I couldn't find anywhere else. And I was an anti-theist before all of this. I was so not going to ever be anything.
Yeah.
And when I left this experience, I took with me the understanding of what religion and a relationship with God means, and what my father had tried to teach me all those years. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. It doesn't matter what path you take to find your God. What matters is that you understand that there is a power that's higher than you that you can turn to when you feel that there is nothing left, that there is hope, that there is a way for you to feel like you have even a modicum of control over things that you don't, because that's all you can have, is the ability to at least ask. So that's why I believe in God. That's why I have the relationship I do. That's how I found my God. And that's why I believe in the power of religion.
That was all so beautiful, but I just feel like this is the movie Contact now. I was like, oh, sir, before you go, you're going to go out into space to meet these aliens. Now just answer this one question. Do you believe in God? Like, it's not what I was going for. I'm so sorry, but I'm so grateful to you for being so open and honest with your answer. I'm fascinated by your answer. I knew some of the stuff, obviously, with Sarah. But I think that I mean, I don't know what we believe. I'm one of those people I like to zoom out. So I'm like, well, all the religions are kind of just be a good person, be kind. Like you started this thing with, we're all in this thing together and nobody gets out alive. They don't tell you that. Nobody gets out alive. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. I mean, you might enjoy your life a little bit more if that's what's important to you with a lot of money, but that you can't take it with you. So
Exactly.
I don't know.
We're all the same in the end.
Yeah, very fascinating. I'm so grateful to you for sharing that, and to you for sharing earlier. And I've just been here to facilitate it all. Thanks. All right, are we good? Do you feel good about that? I'm sorry to throw a little curveball at the end. I see so much of your dad in you tonight, and I was curious where it was coming from, and I don't know if that's the answer.
It's the picture. It's because the picture is like exactly the way it was in his photograph, intentionally.
The desk, behind the desk. Or was it the boardroom? Yeah. Was it behind the boardroom?
No, it was well, you always see him in the press conference with it, but it was in his office, I believe.
Gotcha.
I'm not sure. Somebody else would know the answer to that question because I was not in that office.
And eventually Kat DeLorean is going to get to the bottom of it on the DeLorean Legacy podcast.
Yes,
somebody will have that answer.
Somebody's going to tell me where the painting actually hung when it was in his office at the company. So
I love you so much. Follow Kat DeLorean at all the places and the DeLoreanLegacy.org. And let's see, we are at GVBC tomorrow, and then Saturday there's the Avance launch party at the Peterson. 6 to 10, I believe. Tickets, I think, are still available. It's open to the public. I think membership might get a VIP ticket or something, but it's open to the public, so I hope people come out. And there's more stuff. Next week, Sean Bishop and more. And hopefully there'll be some fun, good announcements to tell you all soon. But in the meantime, I love you, Kat DeLorean. Love to Jason and the family.
Love to you, Jason, everybody.
And of course, this one over here, I'm sorry for earlier. I hope you're all right. You look beautiful, which is what I was trying to say. I'm sorry you feel like shit and everything that you're dealing with, but you got a lot of people behind you. So we love you at home. Please love one another. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Time Snyder is next. Good night, everybody.